The Raptors make it 2 in a row, 130 to 122 over the Washington Wizards. Welcome to Raptors Tonight, live from Real Sports. I'm Randy Irvin, joined by Sherman Hamilton, Alvin Williams, and Akil Augustine. There's pretty good energy in here for 8 people.
Listening to the 10 Crack Commandments by Biggie.
Big 2.
1.
What's number 1?
You know what number 1 is.
I do know what number 1 is. Speaking of...
Some topic you bring up.
Yeah.
Huh?
Let's start the show.
Let's talk about the energy in the building.
Never get high on your own supply.
We're there
Biggie,
already.
man.
We're there already.
Let's go.
I just thought there was different energy in the building to start the game. I think it felt like the team, fans just feeling a bit freer after ending that losing streak.
It felt like the team was healthier.
Healthier works.
Yeah, I mean,
Number 2.
okay, my bad. Obviously the fans were happy that the Raptors ended that losing streak, but the Wizards coming to town.
Yeah.
I think the fans were expecting this team to play the way they did, and they answered the call. But for the players, I thought they hit the floor with energy. They hit the floor with punch and aggressiveness. So, Coach.
What's up, Coach? How you doing? Hey.
Oh, Coach, we need you
Come
on
on by.
the show,
Come on
Coach.
by. There's a seat
We need
right
you on the
here.
show, Coach.
But yeah, I thought they came out and just kept on throwing punches. And to me, to end this season, what you're trying to figure out is how they're going to be in a consistent way, and the kind of leadership you have when some de facto leaders aren't there, and understand how to play hard and be professional through these situations. And we're seeing that. So I've been tipping my hat to Darko, because this group has played together. They've played hard. They've been professional. And they haven't veered away from the game plan.
Yeah.
They haven't had success, and there was many opportunities to kind of bail out on it, and they haven't done that. So it's good to see them stick together and play this hard for each other. And even though there isn't technically much to play for in terms of standings and playoffs, there's a lot to play for other things.
You were going to jump in there, Akil, or no?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's organization versus organization, right? You're both not playing your best basketball, but what does your organization have to offer? The Toronto Raptors, I believe, way better than their record. And when you see the Wizards coming in, it's a team you kind of dominated in the season series for the last 5 years since you won the championship. Won 9 of the last 11. Now it's 9 of the last 11. Now it's 10 of the last 12. You don't want to take a loss to a team like that. I mean, certain names leave a bad taste in your mouth. The Bucks are dealing with losing to names that they shouldn't lose to, and the Raptors feel like they're better than the Wizards from top to bottom organizationally. So yeah, definitely come out there and put these guys down early so you don't have to deal with that kind of conversation later on in the week.
Yeah. Al, what stuck out to you tonight?
What Sherm said, kind of the start. A lot of times at this stretch, and I've been through it. And sometimes if you're at a certain stage of your career, you hate this junction of the season. You hate just playing for nothing pretty much when you talk about the season and no postseason play. But you hope that everyone comes with the same professional approach. And it's very valuable when you have players and you're starting to evaluate them. And I think the biggest thing you could take away from this is how professional the players are being right now and how they're playing and how they continue to improve and play for one another and follow the game plan. They came out focused. They came out very mature. They had their lapses, but for the most part, man, they've been very consistent with their output. And I think you got to evaluate all of those things when you talk about how do you move forward and who do you move forward with.
Most points scored in the first quarter, least points allowed to an opponent in the first quarter.
Yeah. Al, just real quick, back to what you're saying. What does game, 77 feel like in an NBA season?
It depends where you are, but you're trying to get, if you're going to the playoffs, you're ready to get this thing over with and get into the playoffs. But
you're feeling beat up regardless.
I mean, physically, it depends.
Yeah.
That's case by case basis. Of course, you're a little worn down, but you're ready to play if there's something to play for. If it's not much to play for, others are ready to go to the postseason, others are ready to go on vacation. So it's just one of those things. Mentally, you have to be sharp. Mentally, you still have to be in tune because everyone still has a job to do. The coaches still have a job to do to get you prepared. And in Toronto's case, it's still evaluation. Everyone is young. The coaching staff is young. The players are young. So everything is pretty much still new. Everyone's new to one another. But you want to go into this summer making sure that you have the right pieces that you would like to move forward with.
Yeah, and there's also, these guys love playing basketball. That's why they're at this stage of their career.
Some people don't love it.
It's not making an
hope.
assumption.
Yeah.
Like,
You're right. You're right.
Honestly,
Making an assumption across.
yeah, everybody doesn't love playing basketball.
Yeah,
Some
that's
people
true.
just play basketball because they love what basketball gives them.
Right.
Right. So
Some guys are just 7 feet. Andrew
Right.
Wow.
Who did he say?
I don't know. He's
Who did
calling
you say?
somebody out over there.
Hey, he said it himself. He said it on podcast. He
Who?
loved the game. Andrew Bynum.
Oh, Andrew Bynum. Yeah, that's right.
He's an example of one of those
He was
guys.
pretty talented for a guy that didn't love it.
Oh, yeah.
when you get to this level, you start realizing it's more than the game. It's not just waking up playing, which it's a lot of other things. Sometimes it's family dynamics. Sometimes it's other relationships, finances, day-to-day struggles, stuff like that, that people say, you know what I thought this was,
Yeah.
I'm not built and I'm not ready for all of these other things. So you fall out of love
Right.
with the other things that will ultimately impact basketball.
Right. I mean,
You wasn't trying to hear all that, but
No,
it's cool. When you give me 3-4 rights, like right. That means like, all right, get your point out.
no, that's not true. I was just thinking about my
I
next
felt the same
question.
thing.
Right. Okay, Sherm.
No, I got caught up in thinking about what I was going to say to Sherm. That's my bad.
The art of listening.
I
yeah.
was
My bad.
art of listening. It should be a book. My question is, when I was watching Gary Trent, it felt like he had a bit of a spring to his step. He was like, obviously he has something to play for because he's going to be a free agent and he wants to play well. But also there's that, the season's over next week. I love doing this. That's kind of the feeling I got from him.
I don't think Gary Trent is doing anything other than we've seen him do his whole career. He plays hard. That's what he does. And, to start the game out, he did it on the defensive end early, got a couple steals. And to me, that's who he is. He's professional. He's going to work hard. He's going to fulfill his role. And he's going to do it on both ends. So to me, this was no different than any other scenario I've seen Gary play in. And I know we put a lot on the end of the season. But for the guys who love basketball, who love the game, who respect the game and appreciate the game, those guys are going to play one way every time they hit the floor. And to me, Gary Trent Jr. is one of those guys.
The Money Mitches of the world, they love the game.
Love to hustle.
Love the hustle.
Akil, I mean, Olynyk was great again tonight. Like, it just feels like he is.
Way to stay on track, man. Way to stay on
fitting
track.
in.
You
Fitting
know
in.
who's not
He had a little
slacking
beef
towards
out
the
there.
end of the season?
Who?
You.
Yeah, that's right. Although I was
You're
listening.
hosting
I was
the hell out of this show right
I was
now.
listening. I always listen to this guy when he talks. I
I'm
don't-
trying to listen to you right now.
Just talk to me about Kelly. I mean, this guy's like, it feels like he's fitting in every game a little bit more.
Well, I think he's like,
tough, too.
the Raptors knew what they got when they traded for him, and they were very happy to start the contract negotiations early because they know he fits what they're trying to do, and they haven't had a player of his skill set. But tonight, I like the battle between him and my guy Eugene. Some Canadian-on-Canadian violence there. They were pushing, they were shoving, they were John. There's got to be a backstory there. I'll leave it to Kayla Gray and the rest of them to figure out what it was. But Kelly rose to the occasion despite the fact that he's playing a big on a team that's languishing. Oh, shout out to the people in the building. But again, I like everything Kelly does, but I just like the chippiness and the fight tonight that he had with Eugene. And it's going to be intriguing to see what this roster looks like when you've got a Scotty Barnes consistently playing with the BBQ lineup and Kelly and whatever gets added to this roster next year. But Kelly fits in perfectly. He's the missing Tetris block that you need. He slides right in.
Yeah, and I think even better with better players around him too,
Yeah.
right? When you watched quickly tonight, Al, just what stood out about the way he ran the point? Like, does he feel like a different player than he was when he got here? Because that's what it seems like to me.
He's comfortable, right?
Yeah.
He's comfortable. He's going to be allowed to play through his mistakes. He's relied on to do more than just run the team. He's got to score the basketball. But I think it comes from his relationship with Darko. I watched they talk a lot. They communicate a lot. And I mentioned it on air. I watched Vince Carter, right, as a young player, along with Tracy McGrady, how the coach Butch Carter really communicated with those guys. He held them accountable. He really gave them certain responsibilities and made sure that, he was always in their ear. And with my situation, Lenny Wilkins was that for me. And I see the same thing with Darko. So with that piece, and we've all played, we know how important it is to have your coach to have confidence in you.
I've never had it, so yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so
That's fair, though.
yeah, so it goes both ways. So if the coach don't have confidence in you, you're not going to play your best basketball. So I feel IQ, he's mastering the offense. He's really coming into his own, and he's maturing. So I love this, and that's kind of like what I was asking you, like, how do you feel about the future with IQ? I think it's very bright because I like his personality, I like his work ethic, and I like the way he's approaching the game.
And it's something to be said about, when you're a second unit point guard and your lane is very restricted and you don't have a lot of room for error. You make a mistake or two, you're gone, you're out of the game for a bit. As a starter, he's getting the opportunity to play through those mistakes, and that develops confidence, and there's also challenges that he can be presented with, i.e., we heard Darko talk about this, getting Emmanuel to understand when to set the table. Mm-hmm. He can score, we know that, but how do you make your teammates better? And we're seeing him with some pretty gaudy assist numbers now. So he's learning and he's implementing it right away. He's making some mistakes. He's playing through it. He's being encouraged. And because of the personality he is, and again, loving the game and wanting to be the best player he can be, we're seeing those strides being taken. And this is what an organization wants to see. When you're challenged, when you're told or asked to do some things, can you implement it? Yeah. And I think he's doing a very good job of doing some things that are challenging.
And it's impressive because he had 13 assists. 7, 5, like multiple players have more than 5 assists. So it's not like he's ball dominant and he's the guy like, I pass you the ball, you better score, and I'm getting assists for everyone. Everyone else is getting assists too because the way the offense is made, but he's like, again, he's mastering and he's identifying where he gets his opportunities.
One thing I love about him is he's got the physical tools, but a lot of this is mental, and he's had the opportunity to rub shoulders with guys who've made their way. You think about Maxey being college teammates with him, but also in New York, Brunson comes in, and he's also established himself as a go-to guy, a big dog at the point guard position. And so he's been able to see those guys in the locker room, at workouts, how they approach, and what their confidence is like. And to have that kind of Rolodex of types of guys you could call on, and you could call back experiences to, I think is going to be huge for him. Give him the keys. Give him the keys to the car.
I didn't say right at all on your last 2 answers, so I got you. Let's welcome our fan of the night now. Let's please give a round of applause to Mike LaRock. Come on in, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike LaRock.
LaRock is in the building.
You have a great name.
You ever hear Scott LaRock?
Hey. I don't know Scott LaRock.
Scott LaRock?
The family teammate.
Scott LaRock from the South Bronx. Boogie Down Productions.
We have not met. My wife's kids, she's a teacher, and they think she's married to The Rock.
Oh wow.
So I don't correct them.
Wow. Mike LaRock, do you have a question for the panel?
I do. So, first year, Grady Dick on the team. How do you figure he's fitting in with RJ and IQ?
Okay. I'll take it, I guess.
Take it.
Well, I think they all like each other, right? I think that's the most important thing. It's a young group. They're all on the same timeline, so they're going to be able to grow together, share experiences. I look back to, I think, which is one of the most penultimate Raptors teams, which was the championship team. All those guys were around the same age, same timeline, having babies at the same time, becoming fathers, building their families. It's not the exact same thing, but these guys are now becoming professionals, getting their contracts, their deals, and they're blossoming as young people. And I think they all get along. And I think that's going to lend well off court, because that off court camaraderie, I think Alvin can speak to it better than I can, really lends well to you playing better together on court.
Okay.
I like him. I like his. First of all, I like his style of play. I think it's going to be up to him how he continues to improve. But by all indications, he's going to put the work in. His style of play, what he brings, his understanding of the game, the way the offense is set up for him. I think he does a really, really nice job of playing his style, exploiting his strengths. So I think there's things that he can do to get better, but I think collectively the entire team, the way they play, I think it's a good fit. Now it's going to be up to him again. How much does he improve? But he's on the right track. He's on the right track.
Yeah, I think he's won the guys over. He can shoot the ball. And you look at guys like Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett, they can attract the second defender. And you always need guys who can knock down shots. And he's shown he can do that. But to me, the real buy-in with Grady is he plays hard.
Yeah.
He plays hard on both sides of the basketball. and he's showing that he has more to his game than just a standstill shooter. Put the ball on the floor, and I think you gain respect to your peers with how hard you work and then how you produce based on that work. And I think for how he's shown so far, I don't think his teammates can do anything but buy into what he brings to the table. And again, the timeline, as Akil talked about, being young, experiencing some similar things and growing in the NBA, I think the situation is almost as perfect as it can get with that core group.
Yeah.
And once they sprinkle some more veteran guys around them, they'll have a great balance, and I think he'll fit perfectly.
Even with Grady, right, it's amazing we talk about, and I think probably his stature and what the team needed. We talk about a standstill shooter. Of course, we recognize seeing him.
He can do
That's
more.
not him.
No.
And I don't even think in Kansas he was a stand. He back cut, he offensive rebound, he's athletic, alley-oops.
Closeouts,
He's a very aggressive player. So if anybody or any coach would just put him as a standstill shooter and just have them as that, I think they're doing him and the team a disservice. I think he's a guy, again, not R.J. Barrett, but he's a guy that moves well. He off the curl, he cuts, he pump fake, get mid-range, and gets to the basket. He has to do a better job of finishing at the basket, but I think you can do a lot of things with him. I think you can put him as a screener because he does shoot that well. So when you have a guy like that can shoot that well, he sets screens, you got to take two with him. It's going to leave him open for that standstill shot. But he brings so much to what Sherman and Akil was saying. Like he's on the right track, and it's great to hear that you guys say like the guys they really bought into what he does because he plays so hard.
Nice.
Mike, are you ready to spin and shoot for a prize?
Absolutely.
Can we see your form
Let's do
first?
it.
Like, just what does that look like?
Oh, that's nice.
It's not bad.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Snap it.
yeah, snap it.
snap it.
Yeah,
Snap
yeah,
it.
right.
Snap it. Don't-
Okay, all right.
Don't give me the Randy Urban. That one.
I think he was trying to do a push floater. He was thinking
Yeah.
about
Good
quick-
to that.
I'm a push floater kind of guy. For
I don't know about
You're a
this.
scorer. You're a scorer, dog.
You're an Olay defense.
I'm a scorer, dog. 5 points per game.
No.
No, depends what league. Give it a spin, yeah. Yeah, we got some good prizes up there today. Tickets, jersey, basketball, hoodie. What are you looking for? Oh, the Yeti Cup. Yeti Cup. That's not bad. You want to shoot for it?
Sure.
The Yeti Cup.
Have a.
Too high.
Hey, Mike, you scared. You tricked me with your
That was
form.
an offensive rebound for Randy.
One last?
Yeah, one more. One
Okay.
more. Hit it again. There you go. There you go. And I got. Because they honored Vince Carter for getting into the Hall of Fame. I also
And
got these.
socks.
I got you these Vince Carter socks.
That's awesome.
That was a personal
Vince
gift.
Carter got socks?
Yeah,
Appreciate
Can,
that.
can you,
Where's
can you
the
come
Alvin
to the
Williams
camera
socks?
and give a little shout out to somebody watching at home?
Don't do that, man.
The mic.
Hi, kids. Hi,
Where's
Cameron. Hi,
socks?
Catherine.
All right. Hey, thanks for
wants-
doing this, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Catherine.
Give a little hand for Mike.
I'm
Hey, one time for Mike. One time for Mike.
Mike.
Thank you.
Mike LaRock.
Good.
I like that name, Mike LaRock.
You never heard of Scott Rock, have you?
No.
You're not down with the sound of the BDP?
I mean, I would be if you played it now. I'd probably like it.
I don't think we've got the licensing
I don't know
rights.
what you're talking about.
He's more of a
You guys-
Motley Crue kind of
I
guy.
am a Motley Crue kind of guy.
Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, that's your scene.
Yeah. What would you What would you do if you're a Washington GM? Like, what do you do with this team? Where are they going, Sherm? Put your GM hat on.
I don't
Who
know
do you
where
like?
they're going. I don't know where they're going. They've got some players that they've got to make some decisions on. And I really think they're going to need to implement some veteran presence into this locker room and help this thing start to turn the corner.
Yeah.
But, they got to make a decision about their coach right now.
Washington's a cautionary tale.
Well, I mean, it's not like we haven't seen this story before, where a team in the NBA, they're just a young team. The leadership that you need to have to be successful isn't there because you're going to cultivate some bad habits in an environment where the leadership isn't good. And I think what we're seeing with Washington is since Bradley Beal left, and even when Bradley Beal was there, the team wasn't great. But Bradley Beal was a true pro. He was professional. He worked hard. He produced on the floor. So there was leadership. They didn't win, but there was leadership. Now without that, it's difficult to really find your direction that way. But they need to start with getting a good coach that fits, that's going to hold these guys accountable. Then you need some more seasoned players in that locker room to help out this team.
But that's what I was talking about with the cautionary tale element of it, is that they weren't winning with Bradley Beal. And this is something that NBA teams need to decide, is what's the ceiling of the group you have right now, right? When the Wall and Beal thing didn't work out, they decided to double down and keep Beal for an extended period of time, even though to most people outside of Washington, that was never a team that was going to get over the hump. And so they kind of hamstrung themselves and tied their hands behind their back with the amount of money they paid Beal, and then the trade. They were never going to get value back, so that was kind of money thrown into a fire. And now they're kind of scrambling to figure out where this team goes next. And they could have started this process a lot sooner, and had a lot more assets and a lot more money, and now they're kind of, with the coffers are empty and they're trying to figure a direction. It's too late.
You like anybody on that?
Kyle Kuzma is looking for Airbnbs on the sideline. He's on Verbo.
My man rocking pearls around his neck.
Yeah, he's doing fashion shows.
He's a fashion guy, so I stand down. But
Yeah.
he's a talented player, though.
Yeah.
So is he a player that you're trying to build around, or is he just a piece?
Peace. Yeah.
Right? And it's hard. It's hard when you're in that position. So because you got to have other people that's willing to make deals as well, right? So it's tough, man. They're in a tough position.
It's real tough. I want to touch on this real quick. Congratulations to South Carolina. Completed the perfect season. They took down Caitlin Clark in Iowa. Just a fabulous run for them. There's something like 90
108 and 3
and 3.
or 109 now.
Put that in,
Don Staley's doing it, man.
put that in perspective, if you can, to win that many games.
No pressure.
Put it. I don't know. I've never I don't
Just
know.
think of the great programs in college basketball and women's college basketball. You go back to Gino Auriemma and UConn when they were just dominating. We're seeing this happen right now with South Carolina and Don Staley. This is the beginning of it. And with the way she recruits, with the way she coaches, with how hard her players play, and how
where she's
talented.
from.
Well, we're not saying that. We're just saying that.
Oh,
the way she
yeah.
recruits.
No, we are
you
saying
said that. We're not saying.
Well, you have to include that.
I don't
you heard
know.
You heard what she
I
said
don't know
today.
if it matters.
I don't cry. I'm from North
I
Philly,
don't
the
know
village.
I don't know if it matters.
All right,
25th and Diamond.
I'll throw this.
Just to let you know.
I'm with you.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
We never cry.
where are you from?
25th and
Around,
Diamond, the
around the
village.
corner from Al's place.
No, not from my place. I'm not from there. But the village. We from the village.
Yeah, that's right.
I will piggyback on Sherm's point, and even I don't know if this is blasphemous or not, but go a step further and say, sure, because that UConn team, they've won a lot of championships, but I think this is the heyday of women's college basketball. You think about that 2020 class, high school class that came in, right? Paige and the rest of them, Caitlin. She won against these young women who are going to go down as the greatest collection of women's college basketball players to play together at the same time.
I think when we talk about historical relevance and comparisons, we've got to acknowledge that the platforms to see these women play wasn't there back in the
Yeah.
day.
So there might be a
And
recency
there
bias.
was some
Yeah, it
great,
is. It definitely
great female college players.
You got the McGee's, you got Cheryl Miller,
Swoops.
you got Swoop, you got
all of
I
them.
remember it was a woman from
Elise
Philly,
Leslie's.
Linda Page. It was
Yeah.
Yolanda, Laney. It was some great players. They just have a different platform now.
But I was talking about the timing for these five girls.
All those women were in the same. They were.
Okay,
time.
I stand down.
Yeah, but again, you need something that's going to bring notoriety to it. It's just like the men's game. Like
100%.
the men's game. You talk about Steph and all these guys, but before that, man, there was a lot of great players in the 80s and the 70s, like whatever the case may be. But the women's, they're on the stage now, but there were a lot of great players prior. I've seen it. I witnessed it. I watched it. I watched those plays.
Have you guys seen this?
And
I'm done.
these ladies are great too.
Yes.
They are great too. So the women's college game is in such a great place right now that there has to be capitalization on it.
Do you think it's in a great place for
It is,
sure.
for sure.
But do you think how the men's game is, to me, taking a dip?
Oh yeah.
For just, I think the structure of it, whether it's the portal, or
One and done.
NIL, or just guys that can transfer, and women can do it too, but just now you can't find that player that you can connect to a university and have that passion and that understanding, that feel behind it. I think the men's game is taking such a dip, and the timing of it is just like amazing that one is going one direction and the other one's going the other direction. And I just hope the women's part, they don't fall into that, because everyone's going to start chasing this money.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to transfer, and then I think that takes the purity out of the game, which the women, I still think they possess.
You know what's interesting? We talk about the men's game, and we have a player like Zach Edey, he better be the most outstanding player in the tournament, win or lose that final game. But the idea that the men's game is different now is kind of what people have been clamoring for. We want to see more teams. We don't want to see individuals. We want to see programs. We want to see loyalty. And then we get into a situation where we might not be calling names, but we're seeing a great program in UConn, not a good program, an elite of the elite program.
Yeah.
And because you might know a few names, but nobody is jumping off the page as number one, is the game really slipping? Or is this kind of what college basketball was originally about? I'm all for NILs. I'm all for these players getting paid what they deserve. I'm all for having the ability to go to schools you want to go to. There's got to be a normalization with this, though. It can't just be this wide-ranging kind of free-for-all thing. There's got to be some parameters, and that will tighten up over time. But I don't think the men's game is in a bad spot.
I do.
I don't think the men's game is in a bad spot.
Disagree to disagree.
Let's just agree to disagree.
Okay, we do that
I can
too.
deal with that one. Yeah, I don't think so.
You know what troubles me? It troubles me when I hear a player say, "I'm leaving here if I don't get this from you," right? It troubles me to go out and see players, sections in a restaurant, nightclub, spending a lot of money.
As college players?
It's kind of like, how are
Why?
you working on? Because how are you working on your
They
game?
got guap now.
Like to me, there's something in college where you're still trying to get somewhere, right? It's somewhere, and it's a process by it. It's a process behind it. I'm with you. You can get paid for your name and likeness. You can get paid however that is managed. I think that's another flawed aspect, because a lot of these players, when these 3 or 4 years are over and you get $250,000, maybe $1 million, and you don't go to the NBA, and you're spending your money because you're living in a $4,000 a month apartment because you're in college instead of living on campus. There's a lot of things behind that I think impacts the individual, their growth and development, which ultimately impacts their performance on the floor. If you look at the college game, you'll see a lot of bad basketball, like a bad basketball, but
That's been happening for years, though.
So you're saying it's become more of a destination as
let's
opposed
hold
to
on.
a step?
He's right, though. I spent a lot of my student loan at Joe. Remember Joe?
Yep.
Yeah. And I ended up here, which I
Your
could have
student
been.
loan isn't it's nil money. It's not NIL money.
nil.
It's
I'm
nil.
just saying, I spent a lot of it.
It's nil, though.
I spent a lot of it and didn't make anything of myself because of that. So
No,
that's
it's not because of that.
No, that's because he
because
makes a
of
great
who
point.
you
I should have
are.
been in the gym.
No.
We're gonna make the jump from UFC.
So, okay,
to the league?
let's not
that what's happening?
let's not paint this with a one brush. There are going to be players, college players, that are irresponsible, that are not going to handle the situation, whether it be money or notoriety, whatever it is. They're not going to handle it well. But if we contrast that with players who are handling it well, I think this is where I was saying things have to be reined in. Programs have to be developed to teach these kids that now that you're getting paid potentially millions of dollars through your collegiate career, how to handle your money the right ways. They had to do it in the NBA. They introduced those rookie programs to teach and to show the young players, listen, these are all the things that are going to come at you. Here's some suggestions on how you should go about dealing with it. The same thing has to happen in college with the influx of money that's coming to these student athletes. They're going to need some guidance.
The best tool for deterrence is a couple of cautionary tales too. And I think while we're in the wild, wild west and a couple of guys do some things that probably take away opportunity from them in the future, I think that'll have a trickle-down effect to straighten out some of the other guys.
That's what I was just trying to tell them.
You aren't going to be a cautionary tale.
But you know what? The cautionary tale, and to me, the scare tactics that the NBA, the NBPA like to use to have certain people speak about their downfalls and pitfalls and their shortcomings. When you're listening to, you're not
That ain't
hearing.
me.
That ain't me. That's not going to be me.
Yeah.
But to your point, you have to put something in place that will help these guys support what's going to come in the future. And it can't just be checking the box to say, we provided this, we also did this, and not really have follow-up. It has to be programming, it has to be accountability, it has to be a structure that's going to get a young person that's 17, 18, 19 years old and their families. Because a lot of these people, families, they're being put in this situation, their families can get something out of it as well. So it's not just the back in the day, your mom and pop putting you somewhere, your mom putting you somewhere for the best situation. Everyone's trying to get something out of it. That's why it's a slippery slope with this whole idea and this whole new structure. So it's just something where you have to put a lot of thought and more action behind it to make sure everyone is successful behind it.
Yeah, it's a tall task, for sure.
It's tall.
Need those Iverson type deals. Defer some of that money till you're an adult.
Yeah, yeah. That's great discussion, guys. I'm really proud of us. Next game for the Raptors.
This guy, man.
Tuesday.
I mean, that's
Versus the Indians.
That is, man.
That's not even a backhanded
No,
compliment.
But you know what? I like how you said us, though.
Yeah.
You provided
said us,
very
you
little
put
in
yourself
that
in.
conversation.
Are you glad that you're included in us with him?
Tuesday versus the Indiana Pacers.
I mean,
Tip off
that's
at
just not
7
right.
p.m. After the game. Come on by Real Sports. Be a part of the show. Thanks for watching.
you
We'll
were
see you
gonna
next
say
time. Yeah.